What's up, guys? It's me, Web-Headed Artist, and with less than 30 days until the new Star Wars Force Awakens hits theaters, I'm as excited as everyone else, but I wanted to throw in some quick predictions I have for the film, since I've seen a lot of people put in some predictions that I don't think are correct, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of throw my little 2 cents in there and see how close I am to what actually happens in the full release. Now, if you guys got a chance to check out my review of the last trailer that was put out, you'll know that I kind of talked about a lot of the themes that I felt this movie was talking about. From the dialogue and the different things that were said and done, it just seemed like this was a passing down, kind of a handing over of the torch from one generation to another. And I feel like they're going to definitely do that with the stories. I don't feel like a lot of the new characters are connected to the old characters as much as we might think. I think this is just kind of a springboard by having them there. These were the old legends from the previous books and movies, and then with the new movies, we're going to have the new legends and the new characters that are going to carry the Star Wars universe forward. So, with that being said, let's talk about some of the new characters in Star Wars. And the first one I want to start off talking about is Rey, since she was one of the characters we were first introduced in the trailers to.
I'm no one.
So Rey, who we were first introduced to in a couple of the trailers, we're under the assumption that she's some kind of scavenger. She's played by the very talented Daisy Ripley. And in the shots where we see her character, she's either working on something, she's scavenging through a ship for parts, for what we're guessing are parts and materials. And she just seems like this person who doesn't have a lot of means. She just looks like a typical middle class or even lower class worker on this planet of either Jakku or Tatooine. We're not sure which planet she's on when they find her, but we know that she just lives there. Now, with her character, I have 2 theories surrounding kind of her origins and who she's connected to. One of them being that she is the daughter of Princess Leia and Han Solo. But with that being said, there are a couple of instances that can kind of take that out of the equation. One being, why is she on this planet and not in the presence of her family? It's kind of weird that she would leave her princess mother and her father and just live on a planet out by herself and not travel the galaxy. That would be something you would think that's within her blood and that you wouldn't find her scavenging for anything. 2, there's also her meeting Han Solo, and the way she kind of talks and her attitude towards him doesn't come across as a father-daughter kind of connection. So that's why it kind of leads me into the second idea with the theory of her character, is that Han and Leia maybe had her, but they split up. They got a divorce, and she lives on this planet with Leia, far removed from any of their connections to the rebels and the struggle that they had before, just living normal lives. And it's something that I could see happen, seeing as Han Solo is this, you know, he's this scoundrel, he's this ruffian, he's a space pirate, he flies around, you know, he brings things to places, he's like the transporter. So I can't really see his character being tied down into that fatherly role. It's something that he would fight against. As much as he loves Leia and probably loves his daughter, he probably just couldn't take this normal, regular life, and he flew off, and that's why they don't really have a relationship or know each other. So it's either that she knows him, he doesn't know that she's his daughter, and she doesn't know that he's her dad, or the only other thing that it could be is that she's just a person who lives on this planet. And her connections are only derived from meeting up with Finn's character and then meeting Han Solo and learning about these previous stories and knowing that what she thought was legend was actually real life. These were actual events that took place. So those are my 2 kind of ideas for her character. I don't think that she's connected to or related to Kylo Ren either, but I'll explain a little bit more of why I don't think they're related, as to also where his background as a character could be from.
I was raised to do one thing, but I've got nothing to fight for.
So next, I want to talk about Finn's character, as played by John Boyega. Now, there's been a lot of ideas and rumors circulating about Finn, from one being that he could be related to Lando Calrissian, some people are saying that he could be a spy who works with Poe Dameron for the rebels, and he's intercepting into or infiltrating into the New Order and trying to figure out what those new clone troopers are doing. And that's probably it for the most part. But I have a different kind of idea of what he could be. I think that he's just a new recruit for the Empire. I think in the future, the Empire doesn't have as many clones as they did before, so they took to just recruiting people who wanted to join up with them, kind of like the Air Force and the Marines of our era right now. I think that his character got recruited. He probably grew up within the First Order, maybe has family ties that were connected to it, and so the next best thing for him to do when he came of age was to join the First Order. I think that's what happened. He joins the First Order, and that kind of connects to some of the things he talked about in the trailer. John Boyega's character says, "I was raised to do one thing. Now I have nothing to fight for." Which just leads me to believe that he was raised within the First Order. He was raised to become a stormtrooper, and maybe his connection to Poe Dameron is that he witnesses the torture. He witnesses what the First Order is, and what he thought was good, he now realizes is bad. The First Order is not good. Now he's realizing, I was raised to be part of this, and now I have nothing to fight for. This people that I thought were good aren't. And so he decides to maybe help Poe Dameron escape. Maybe not directly. Like, he doesn't come to him and say, "I'm helping you out," but maybe he does something to help him escape. Then, while trying to escape himself, maybe that's when he hijacks the ship, crash lands on Jakku, and he meets up with Rey's character. Another thing that this could be connected to is maybe he's out there with the First Order. He goes through a couple battles, and he realizes this is just not for him. As much as he thought it was just not for him. As demonstrated in the shot with him breathing heavily with his mask, and he's got blood covering the helmet. Maybe his character is shaken from his activity or from his duty with the First Order, and it's kind of shaken his foundation of what he's grown up with. Then, upon seeing the torture that Kylo Ren's doing to Poe Dameron's character, he decides this is not something I want to be a part of. Helps him escape indirectly. Maybe he releases him from like the controls, and then runs out. He figures he'll probably figure his own way out, escapes with the TIE fighter or in some way, and maybe while escaping he takes Poe's jacket. And then that's why later in the movie we see, or later in the trailer, we see a scene with Poe Dameron, and he pats him on the shoulder, and he's not sure why he's patting him, but this guy knows, oh, that's my jacket.
A Jedi.
Maybe that's how that scene comes about. So it's probably that his character was just, that's where his character is, which is kind of cool. It makes sense to why he's wearing the outfit, why he's connected to the First Order, and it could also increase some of the character-driven influences for his one-on-one bout with Kylo Ren later in the film.
It's calling to you.
Now I want to just speak a little bit on Poe Dameron. I feel like his character is the most shrouded in mystery in terms of motivations and connection with everyone. Overall, I think he was maybe connected to some of the older films, as in maybe his father or his mother served as a rebel pilot or within the infantry, and he's just their son, and now he's serving with the rebels in the new movie. I think he's just like lineage moved over, kind of like the different families like Wedge Antilles, Biggs. I feel like he's like just another pilot, but he's just going to have more of a role to, more of a connection to these new characters, being with the fighting of this war, being with maybe John Boyega's character Finn rescues him from Kylo Ren. I just think he's just going to be the pilot of the crew, the fighter pilot, the soldier of the team who has more of that background with the rebels, as opposed to Finn's background with the First Order. Last but definitely not least, let's talk about Kylo Ren as played by the talented Adam Driver.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
Now, with his character, there's been tons of speculation as well. A lot of people, for whatever reason, thought Luke Skywalker was Kylo Ren, but of course we've seen Kylo Ren without his mask. We know that it's Adam Driver and it's not Luke Skywalker. So enough with Luke Skywalker being Kylo Ren. This is not the same character. They're completely separate. And I feel like Kylo Ren probably has the most interesting background. From what I can see and feel from the trailer, I feel like he has just his own past separate from all of the main characters in the films. A lot of people, for whatever reason, thought that he was maybe the long-lost son of Princess Leia and Han Solo, but I don't really think that's true. What I think is that if he was raised with a mother and father being Han Solo and Princess Leia, why would he grow up wanting to become this bad guy? Being raised knowing who Darth Vader was and what his ulterior motives and goals were, being a little kid and hearing those things from your parents who were these rebel soldiers and these great rebel heroes back in the day, I'm pretty sure you would want to shy away from the dark side or from being a bad guy. I'm pretty sure you would want to be good just like your parents. So for him to be this long lost son, I don't really agree with too much. Plus, why does everyone think that these children were they born and just cast off? Like, they had Rey and then they had Kylo Ren and then they just threw them away. They just didn't take care of their kids anymore, and then now their kids are coming back. I just don't see that happening for Han and Leia, especially not Leia. I see it maybe from Han. That's why I think his character kind of leaves and maybe comes back. He's kind of one of those dads. But Leia, I feel like she would be the one who has more of a connection to her kids. And that's why I kind of thought that her character is maybe Ren's mom or Rey's mom, and Rey lives on this planet with her, and she just knows her mom is Leia. She doesn't know she was a princess. She doesn't know that she was this rebel hero. She just knows of her as Leia. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk again about Kylo. So for him, I think he was just a big fan of Darth Vader. I think he was another person who maybe grew up within the First Order, maybe has family ties to original people who were in the Empire. And I think he was just this person who, if he doesn't have the ties to people within the Empire, maybe he was just this person who grew up knowing and hearing about what Darth Vader was. From that, I think he just maybe started doing as much research on the dark side and on Darth Vader and on the Empire, and he started to just create his own team. I think that's why you see him with those Knights of Ren. They're the Knights of Ren because I think he created that team. That's why his lightsaber has that do-it-yourself look and feel to it. It's very unstable. It's got this piece together look to it. Like he just took a bunch of different parts from different things and he made it work. And I don't really feel like he's a true Sith. He's just like a Force user. I don't really feel like he's had much training or use with it. There is a part on the trailer where you kind of see him put his hand out like he's pushing, like he's maybe using the Force push, but I don't know. I think that it might have just been a sound effect thrown in. Maybe he's put his hand like that just to be ready for battle. I don't know. Until I really see him use the Force, I don't really think he's either a Sith or a Jedi. I think he's a huge fan. That could also go with why in the trailer we hear him say, as he's talking to the other people within the First Order, or maybe he's just talking to himself and his effigy of Vader, the little broken mask in his little case, where he just says to it, "Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started." So to me, he has a very warped view of who Vader was and what Vader was after. Saying you're going to finish what someone started, I don't think would come from someone who was the child of a Han Solo and a Princess Leia. I think this came from someone who just grew up hearing about Darth Vader, thought he was cool. Darth Vader dies, and then he decides as he becomes an adult, I'm going to carry on Vader's legacy. I'm going to carry on the look of Vader, the fear he was able to put into people. And that's why his costume, the way he looks, derives a lot from Darth Vader. We've got the full mask. He's even got the kind of fin in the back of his helmet, much like Vader's helmet looks. So I think he just fashioned and modeled much of what he looks like and what he does based on who Darth Vader was. And that's about it, guys. That's my overall just predictions for the characters and their motivations for the movie. If you had a chance to check out my trailer review that I did for the third trailer they put out for the movie, check it out if you haven't had a chance to see it, and let me know what you guys think at the bottom. Give me your comments on things that you think I could be right about or what I could be wrong about. And yeah, I would love to hear you guys' opinions on my opinions for what the film could be. Also, as an added extra prediction, I do not think that whoever we think might be dying in the trailer is going to be dying. I think I've heard a lot of rumors of people thinking that it's either Finn or it's Poe or it's Chewbacca. But for me, I actually think it's Han Solo who might die in this movie. We all know that Harrison Ford has a long history with Star Wars. He originally wanted his character to die in The Empire Strikes Back, and he's not a fan of the movie. So I think that to have his character die, they reintroduce him. We have all these nostalgic moments with his character. Chewie, we're home. He finds his ship. And, you know, it's taking us kind of down this memory lane. I think it would be the most tragic and the most interesting if that would be the character that dies at the end. Maybe that's why we have Rey's character crying. I want to thank you again for sitting down and checking out my video. If you have any comments, please leave them at the bottom. Let me know what you think about some of my predictions and why you think they could work or why they won't. Either way, Disney and Star Wars have our money. We're going to be there December 18th. I cannot wait. Don't forget to subscribe, and may the Force be with you.